this table, but there can only be one show.
MTC Beat.
It's time for the Money Mind Mastery Podcast.
What's going on, everybody? My name is MP.
My name is Stefan, SB.
And we are the Triple M Podcast, which stands for Money Mind Mastery. And man, it's a little different today because we're doing a Zoom meeting, and I'm actually kind of digging this because we have the whole setup all nice and proper, right?
It's our first Zoom meeting.
Yeah, so I'm excited for this month, this Zoom meeting that we have, because we have a real amazing guest here, and let's get it right into it. So I'll introduce Justin here. So we're joined by Justin Tidd, who is making waves in the world of fitness. He's a dedicated bodybuilder who knows the meaning of discipline and commitment. Not only does he sculpt his own physique to perfection, but he's also helping thousands transform their lives through his coaching. So without further ado, Justin Tidd, welcome to Triple M's.
Welcome, sir.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
It's a real honor, man. So you just competed recently. Was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, so a week ago. So I competed a week ago, and then I competed also about 5 weeks before that. So it's been a competitive season. I compete again Wednesday.
Oh, you're active, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the most active competitive season I've had. Typically, I compete once a year, and so this year it'll be 3 times. Yeah.
How do you feel?
You know, I get asked that question a lot, especially this close to a show. And, you know, there's some days I feel like trains run me over. You know, I'm just dragging myself to the gym or dragging myself through a workout, dragging myself through life. I mean, honestly, some days I feel okay, I'm balanced, you know, but this show, because I'm going for my pro card. And I went top 10 twice, once in Florida, once in Pittsburgh. Took a year off, and then this year came back at it. So I got 8th at my last event. So I'm already looking better than I was 2 weeks ago. But to make the changes I had to make to get a little crisper, a little tighter, get my abs be on stage a little bit better. You know, for the last week, I've eaten nothing but protein and veggies. I've had no carbs.
Wow.
So by doing that the carbs are your fuel source.
Right.
And also, that energy, that lack of energy, you know, it's tiring. And, but when you get in this area of waking up early, doing fasted cardio, you know, working, eating, training yourself, doing more cardio in the evening, my metabolism, everything's burning, everything's working, and you know I'm getting maybe 5 hours of sleep on top of it just because of so many things to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I feel good. I'm happy. I'm almost done competing this year. But man, I'm super excited to see what I'm going to do on Wednesday because I'm ready. I'm ready for sure.
Hell yeah! Where's the show on Wednesday?
It's in Pittsburgh.
Oh, Pittsburgh again? Oh, nice, amazing.
Yeah.
So, I want to pick your brain a lot more about like mindset and fitness as well. But before we get into everything, we always got to start the podcast with what we call the gratitude series.
Yes, sir.
What's a gratitude series?
So gratitude series is something we always want to say something we're grateful for before we start the podcast. Just want to start it off on a good note. Got that from our Ninong Jed. So shout outs to Jed. Jed rocks. I'll start. You know, I'm grateful for Zoom. Man, this is our first meeting. You know, it can be, you know, no other better guest to have than you, Justin. You know, I'm just grateful for Zoom, man. You know, he's miles and miles away from us, but here we are. It feels like I'm literally just looking at you. We're just having a conversation face to face, right? So I'm grateful for it, man. It's, you know, it's opened up a lot of avenues for all of us. And yeah,
nice.
Can't wait to continue to use it, actually.
100%, man. For myself, I'm grateful for technology, right? It's kind of like what you said, like without any of this stuff, like we always take it for granted, you know, day by day. We're like, oh man, screw my phone. I don't need my phone, all that stuff. But man, a phone's so important these days, right? Like we may be glued to it, maybe a bit glued to it too much, but we're making money on our phones.
Yeah.
We're doing a lot of things on our phones,
Absolutely.
right? So I'm forever grateful for that and just the access that we have to amazing guests like you, Justin. And
For
Justin,
sure.
JT, Mr. Justin Tidd, what are you grateful for today?
And guys, tell you what, I'm grateful for love because my wife and I were married 4 years yesterday. So
Ooh,
yesterday was
happy
our
anniversary.
anniversary. Thank you. Yeah. So I was out of town working. Been out of town Wednesday till today. So I've yet to see her, but yeah, I'm grateful for love, man. Like I've been divorced, and I know what good love is and bad love, and she is really great love, and she supports me, and a lot of things probably what we'll talk about today is going to kind of echo some of those things of what it takes to be able to do and accomplish some of the things that I've been able to do. So yeah, I'm grateful for love, guys.
Absolutely.
100%. I like that. So let's get straight into it, Justin. I know when we spoke a few weeks back, you mentioned how you got into fitness. Like, tell our viewers how you really just got started weightlifting and, pursuing fitness.
I was always an athlete as a kid. Yeah, I didn't really understand fitness. I just knew I was an athlete, right?
Mhm.
And I played basketball, played golf, played tennis, I played baseball, I ran track. So I was a very active kid, and that being active carried on into my 18, 19, 20s. I still play golf. I play basketball for the most part, but and I got in the gym, started working out. But man, I didn't understand it. Probably like most kids. And so my career was taken off. I still trained. I still did some things, but yeah, I let my body go. I still worked out, but man, I let my body go. And it really what springboarded it all was a divorce. And
Mm.
I actually made a post about this about a week ago, but yeah, I was in Las Vegas and I was out there for a convention. And guys, I was training, man, like working out. I thought I looked pretty decent at the time. Man, I looked like dog shit, like straight up. Like I go back and look at this picture, and I'm at the Wynn at the pool. I'm drinking because I'm entertaining people, and I got this like kind of all my weight goes in my stomach, and so that's where I would wear my fat. And so after my divorce, I was like, man, this I gotta think about me. I gotta fix me.
Mhm.
And that really is where it started. So I was about 207, 210 pounds, but man, I had some muscle, yeah. But I got into understanding, educating myself, researching, playing around with nutrition plans, playing around with workouts, and got myself down to 182 pounds. And it was, it was impressive. It was okay. I mean, I had abs,
Mhm.
so, but now to think, that this was 7 years ago, to think about like, yeah, the abs I got now compared to then, yeah,
Nothing.
I was nothing then. Yeah. So that's how I got into it. And then I just kept evolving, kept getting better. I think it's natural. Like, what anyone does with intention, whether it's business or life or fitness, it's once you put your mindset to something, once you be intentional about it, how that evolves,
Absolutely.
doing something day after day after day, you know, um, I saw a video actually when my buddy sent it today, another fitness coach, and it was a wine glass, and I had they had the little eye drops. It was like saline solution eye drops, right? And the guy's like dropping a drop of solution into this wine glass, and of course he's making the analogy of one drops a day,
Mm.
and two drops is 2 days, et cetera, et cetera. And even after a week or 2 weeks, like you're looking in there and there's not much change, right?
Mhm.
But after you do that for months and another month, and then now it's years and years, all of a sudden you start
Yep.
seeing all the solution build up in that glass. And so I think being intentional and seeing that, because, since I started this journey, obviously I've changed tremendously, but it's been very intentional. I've had plans to cut fat. I've had plans to get bigger. Then I had plans to cut fat again. So I've slowly, started the process, 207 pounds, went to 182, went to 220, went back down to 200, went up to 230, went back down to 205, went up to 240, went back down to, so I mean, it's been a very intentional process year after year after year.
I love it. So you started it 7 years ago. Well, no, you really took it serious 7 years ago. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Was there a lot of like trial and error when you're first starting out?
Yeah, for sure. I was eating cod at 5 a.m. Like I was like, whatever it takes, I got this. And I was on a business trip and I was like, hey, I asked my brother, can you come over and get my mail? And he was like, your apartment, it smells so bad. Because I was eating cod for 6 meals a day because I'm like, and but yeah, a ton of trial and error.
Awesome. Would you say the number one catalyst of you getting into the fitness world is the one where it's because you didn't like how you look, or could it be other different scenarios or other different aspects that you did like that's why you wanted to pursue fitness?
Yeah, typically, the way I see it, and this is most people, our bodies, we look at ourselves more than anybody else, and a lot of people don't like what they see when they get out of the shower. They're naked, all right? They're raw form. It's just them. And some people won't even look at themselves, right? Mm. So the number one driving factor, and people can call it vanity, whatever they want to call it, but it's either health driven, that people get into health and fitness, get their bodies right, or it's completely, I need to change how I look. I don't like how I look, so I want to make a change. So yeah, without a doubt, that's what it is.
Absolutely.
Love it. Now, coaching. When did you start your coaching business?
So I was evolving myself. Made some really good progress over the next 2 years, and I had made a dad bod transformation post, and I had my first client that actually reached out to me, still with me today. So this is a little over 5 years ago. He said, "Man, like I got the dad bod. Can you help me?" And to be honest with you, I didn't want to help him. I was like, "Man, I don't have time for this. Like, I don't coach people. I don't, And I was like, but there was just this part of me that I was like, I need to help the guy because I can help the guy. And so I said, all right, I'll do it. And next thing I knew, it was friends started asking me, and then people that I've known on Instagram for a while, they started asking me. And so I just started taking on because there is this piece of me. I do believe it's our responsibility. If you have a gift or if you have a way that you can help someone, it's your responsibility to do that. And so just next thing I knew, one client turned into 2, turned into 5, turned into 10, turned into 40, turned into 80, turned into 100. And it just, it was referral. I never marketed the business. Never. Oh. I never marketed the business. Yeah, it was all referral. And up until a year and a half ago. So, I mean, I ran the business for almost 4 years without marketing the business. And I still don't market per se the business. I just intentionally post on Instagram. I'm on podcasts like one of your guys. Obviously, then I started getting higher end clients, introducing me to their friends, doing their transformations. Brad Lee, I did his. I went on his podcast. Obviously, you can imagine that blew up.
Yeah.
So it just, I'm just more intentional now about it. I still don't market the business, and Frank, I mean, I don't have to.
I love that because referral business is literally the easiest business,
the easiest one,
right? Because they already know what you've done.
The layup.
You don't really, it's literally the layup. It's a layup. You don't really have to do a hard close on them because they already know what you do and you do it well.
Yeah, I want to talk intentions because you say that a lot. I know here on our, podcast, we talk a lot about mentality, where, we talk about consistency, we talk about dedication. But this one of the first times we actually heard the word intention, that you talked about. So talk about that, elaborate on that word.
Yeah. So forever in my bio, I had the words live with intention. And I have those words tattooed on my leg, actually, because I believe if anything that we're going to do and it's worth doing and we do it intentionally. Now, when I say intentionally, I mean laser focused, right? There's a plan, you execute the plan. I want to do this. Okay, I got to do that. And I do that, and that. And the next day I have to do these tasks. So if I do those intentionally, which means fully focused on them, whatever it takes, days, months, whatever, you will. Okay, let's just say maybe you don't accomplish it, but damn, you're going to be 90% there. You're going to be real close. Absolutely. Because so many people set goals without those little daily tasks or those action items to get there, and then they just become a dream. So how do I make that goal really happen? Well, I have to be intentional about the mindset and the actionable items to get to that goal. Otherwise, it's just a thought, a dream. And so it's being very specific about how you live and the decisions you make. Yeah.
Love that, man. I agree with that too. Yeah. Now I want to bring it back to your fitness career. When did you hire a coach for yourself?
After I got to 182. So after the dad bod transformation I did for myself, I got to 182. And then I said, well, I don't know what to do now. I cut the fat. I don't know what to do now. Like, I don't even know if I know what I want to do now,
Yeah.
I just knew that I didn't look like a fat dad no more. And so I found a coach that I'm good friends with now. He was more like strength and conditioning, but I loved his mindset, and he helped me evolve and make other plans and workouts and things like that, just to get me to think different. And then that was when I decided to get into bodybuilding, and he wasn't a bodybuilding coach, so him and I had to part ways because he was like, I can't help you there. And so that's when I hired my first bodybuilding coach, which was a guy out of Kansas City. And he coached me for about a year and a half. But then I felt this, online coaching. I felt like I needed a coach in person because I was like, man, I feel like I need an in-person coach. So I moved in that direction. And that coach was okay. He was an awful business person, awful customer service, but he was a really good coach fundamentally. So, like Ed Milet says, life happens for us, not to us. And I believe that. So that guy was inserted in my life for a reason. And the reason was he did teach me some things, but he also taught me how not to be a coach, because the bad business practices that he applied as me as a customer, I was like, I will never treat my clients like this ever. Right. So, I mean, as painful as some of that process was, I did learn a lot from that and how I wouldn't end up, managing my clients. And then moved on from him. And, now I'm in bodybuilding. I made some really cool friends in bodybuilding. Guys went pro. Guy down in Houston, Texas, me and him was like brothers. And he recommended me a guy that was up in New York. So him and I are best friends now. So he ended up coaching me from that point on. Yeah.
Nice. Now, let me ask you this here, because me and Stefan, we always preach, find a mentor, find a mentor, find a coach, find a coach. I want to hear from you. Why is it important to find a coach? So you can let everyone else know why it's important.
Yeah, because, I heard it really well at an event I was at. And a lady was on stage presenting. And she said, time is a valuable asset. And we all know that. That's something that we can't get back. And so, how we use our time, we have to use it efficiently and wisely. But when we hire a coach, we're hiring someone to buy us time. And what that does is they've been through a process. I say they've ran into the walls that we're about to run into. Their face is bloody and beaten, and there's blood on the wall. And, so when you come to that wall, they can take you around the wall. You don't have to hit that same obstacle, that wall that they ran into because of their experience. So you get there because you want to get somewhere quicker. Now, instead of you learning it like I did, I learned it myself. It took me freaking forever. But, once I started hiring a coach, man, it goes like this, right?
True.
So that's the biggest thing is how do I save time? How do I get there quicker? Less frustrations, a solid plan. So yeah, that's why.
Like the one thing I'll add to is accountability, because a lot of people, I tell all our friends, like, dude, find a coach, man. Like, I can tell you how to lose weight, but just, dude, find a coach. And here's the thing: they always say, I can just Google it. They Google it. 3 months later, they look the goddamn same.
Yeah.
Right. So whatever happened to that, man? What is the accountability? Right. That's the biggest thing with coaching that I feel is like important, because the accountability is there. If you ain't following the meal plan, they'll tell you look like shit.
Yeah. No, it definitely
Sure.
is important. A lot of people, again, to your point, they say they can just research it. They can just Google it. But at the end of the day, sometimes you do need that little push. But also at the end of the day, it's not up to you, right? It's not up to the coach.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to that individual. And by holding them a little accountable, it could be the difference maker, making a difference.
Yeah. A lot of my clients, they do say that. They know they have to check in. They're like, oh, I got to send them pictures of my weight. And so they need that accountability. For me, I'm a discipline driven person. Once I check that box and I'm doing it. Give me the plan, it's done. Right. So I don't need accountability. I need the plan. That's me personally. Yeah.
It's also
but yeah. A lot of my clients, the accountability side of it for sure. Yeah.
Love it, man.
But yeah, like, I mean, that's the thing is if I build you a plan and I can build you, I'm not holding your hand. I'm not taking you to the gym. I'm not meal prepping for you. Right. And I don't have the time to text you and say, did you make your food today? I don't, that's not going to happen. So my clients check in every 2 weeks. So best case they get in the onboarding process, I tell them, here's your check-in. There are no reminders. I don't babysit. So if you don't get the results, it's because you didn't do the work. Just so we're clear here.
Up to you.
Big disclaimer, right? It's all on you. I'll give you the plan, but you got to follow it, right? Now, I want to do a little pivot into like the fundamentals and like, getting started with fitness and all that stuff, right? So when you started taking fitness serious 7 years ago, what were some of like the biggest mistakes, or not really mistakes, but when we talked about trial and error, what were some of like the biggest errors that you faced that you've wished you adjusted back then?
Probably one of the biggest ones is maybe my training techniques. I was an ego lifter earlier on, so I had to learn some new training styles for bodybuilding specifically, and it took me longer probably than it should have to implement some of those practices. That's probably the biggest one to say. Mistakes.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's true.
Move faster. I move faster. I probably could have moved faster as a coach as far as growing my business.
What do you mean by move faster? Like act faster?
So as I said earlier, it was referral based, right? And I just let the business come. So I probably could have been more actionable to grow my business quicker. It was growing fine, but now me looking back, I could have blown this thing up even more 3 years ago, 4 years ago, rather than it blowing up now.
Gotcha. And now when you mentioned like ego lifting, Were you just trying to lift the biggest weights possible with like limited range of motion and all that?
That's it. 6 to 8 reps, lift heavy weight. That's it. Yeah. Not really stretching the muscle, not putting tension on the muscle. Yeah.
That's key, man. That's key. Because like you really need to you really need to get that stretch, because if that stretch is not there, man.
Yeah.
Are you working out, or are you just pushing weight?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So someone that's just getting into fitness, brand new, and they want to get like a proper diet in place. Well, I'm not gonna ask you this. Let me ask you this: keto and carnivore. Do you believe in that stuff?
I do. So a few things about it. So I actually use keto approaches in my diet plans, but my keto plans, they don't include bacon, right? So I think when people hear keto, they're like, "Ooh, I can have bacon, I can have all the fats," and it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, are you going to be able to sustain the result of the health issues, the cholesterol issues that are going to come along with that? So, I mean, keto, you can still get into ketosis doing it a clean way, whether that's almonds and olive oil and salmon and other fatty foods, and just take out the carbs, right? Carnivore, sure. More or less, I've been on carnivore the last week on protein and veggies.
Yeah.
So, but that's also from a sustainability standpoint not going to work, because you're talking about depending how much protein you're pumping through your body. Your energy levels, I can tell you right now, we talked about this earlier, your energy levels on both of these diet plans without carbs are going to be limited. So my ultimate way I do plans, I carb cycle and I fat cycle. So what's that mean? I start out a program, I slowly take away carbs, I slowly take away fats, and I push up cardio. So over a 12-week, 16-week period, I'll reduce calories, I'll reduce the carbs, reduce the fats. I keep protein high and the same. But as I do that, what happens is I can keep muscle on someone and then also lose fat at the same time. And your body stays healthy. Your cholesterol is good. Your blood pressure is good. People with cholesterol issues, they've cleaned up in a matter of 6 weeks by doing it this way also.
I love that.
Love it.
Because a lot of people use keto and carnivore just to like lose weight as quick as possible, but they bounce back right away. And I want to ask you this: why do they bounce back? Is it just due to they just go back to like their regular ways? Is it just because they're introducing carbs back up and they're bloating again? Like, what's happening there?
Yeah, so you're going to have a massive reaction to your cortisol levels and your insulin. Like, okay, carbs, once you pull those out and you throw them back in, you're going to have a cortisol reaction. So what'll happen is someone will start putting them in, but let's be honest, they ain't putting jasmine rice back in. They're putting fucking cupcakes and muffins and Pop-Tarts.
It's been a while.
Right?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're trying to reward themselves, but what happens as the adverse effect is this is going to deteriorate all the hard work they've done, because the bounce back off of that, I guarantee you that they gain 8 to 10 pounds in a few days.
Yeah.
Boom, like that right there.
It's true. That happened to us, bro.
Yeah, it's funny because it's kind of a little personal on that one, Justin. Come on.
Like, you talking about me?
I was like, yeah, that's why I was like, yeah, because that's what happened. Yeah, that's what happened to me.
Right. And just one last thing here. Like, when you first looked for a coach, like, what were you really looking for? Like, were you just looking for anyone that could coach you? Like, what are some things that anyone should look for when hiring a coach?
For me, it was someone that understood my mindset, someone that could have a goal. I didn't need a babysitter. I didn't need someone to micromanage me. I needed a solid plan. So I needed to know they had expertise. I needed to know that they could build the plan. They were trustworthy. But one of the biggest things for me is, if I've got a question, I need access. I don't want to wait 2 days for a response. Like, if I'm going to pay you, I want to know, it doesn't have to be in 5 minutes, but if you got to respond same day. So for me, that customer service is huge. Experience, customer service, and access. That's it.
Love it. Well, you talked about mindset, and let's jump into that actually. you've been a successful businessman. We didn't talk about your sales background, but obviously that's something that you've done and you're really proud of. And now you're getting to the fitness industry. A lot of successful people, they do have that why. Why are they doing it, or that why that drives them to do what they do? So if you can share your why, that'll be great.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people maybe in my shoes are going to say like their family or their kids or something like that. And be honest with you, I'm not going to say that. I love them. I don't mean it as in any way that I don't love them. Um, but for me, guys, I'm motivated by money. I really am.
Mm.
For the longest time, it was money. It transitioned into power, and then it kind of become a balance of money and power. And so that's kind of been my motivation through life. And I grew up poor. We didn't have enough money that we got food stamps from the government, so we weren't that poor, but we were just on the cusp of it, when I was at a grocery store, candy bar was like a quarter back then. I couldn't even get a candy bar. You know what I'm saying? As a kid, and it was always, mom would pay the electric bill but not pay the water bill, and then the next month she'd have to pay the water bill but not the electric bill. And dad would work two jobs. She had a job. So for me, it was I was born. Now they are great, awesome people, blue collar, hard freaking working people. I love them to death. I'm proud and grateful for the life they gave me. But I believe it also happened the way it was supposed to, because that's why I'm so driven. I'm driven not to have that life that if I want a candy bar, I want to buy it. But obviously, at this level, if I want to go to the Bahamas, I want to go to the Bahamas. I don't want to be like, I can't afford it.
Next
You
year.
know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Now with bodybuilding, especially at the level that you're at, changes or progress, it might seem slow from what I would assume, especially at your level. Like, how do you often maintain that growth mindset or really avoid burning out? Because sometimes you won't really see the results right away, but in time you will. Like, how do you maintain that kind of mindset, that growth mindset?
So it's two ways. So when you're trying to add muscle and bulk up, it's way more difficult. So when you're cutting, it's a little easier because you can watch the scale drop, but you can also see the separation in your muscles. You can compare pictures to pictures. So it's way easier as you're trying to cut fat. But to get to bulk up, it does require a little bit more discipline, patience, a mental mindset of it, to trust the process, because you know you may be eating 7 times a day, your weight may be slowly going up, you're losing your breath trying to tie your shoes because you've gained so much weight and fat, because you got to gain fat to gain muscle. And so it's really about trusting the process and staying focused. Like when you get in those moments, you just got to remember, like, you made the decision to do this. So keep the promise to yourself, follow the plan, and then execute. Now, are there changes that come along when you plateau? Absolutely. Changes have to happen. Make the changes, go to the next level. And if that don't work, make changes again. And so you got to play with some of that and be creative, because our bodies are different and they're going to respond to different foods differently, things like that.
That's true. That is very true. Everyone reacts differently. Everybody's different, right? As far as like burning out, do you ever feel like you're burning out where you just don't want to do it? Where you just don't want to do the cardio? Like, what drives you to really just keep pushing forward in bodybuilding?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm competitive at nature, right? So I don't get burned out on things, but I realize that that's probably not like most people. When I'm not doing something, I get anxiety. If I take a rest day and we're hanging out and just like watching a movie, like I can watch a movie, but if it's like, hey, let's watch another movie, I'm kind of like, I don't feel like I'm doing something. I start getting anxiety a little bit because now I feel like I'm cheating on my promise, on my goal. And in all reality, it's not bad to take that rest day. But yeah, cardio, I never like cardio. I hate cardio. Don't like it. I can't get burned out on it because I hate
Absolutely. You only do it once a month.
it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
No, but I have a question regarding your clients. Let's say I'm one of your clients here, and I do feel that, I feel burnt out. So what do you usually tell them, or how do you handle that situation?
Well, it always goes back to the promise you made to yourself,
Mm.
right? So that's really realistically where it's at. Is you can be burned out all you want, but listen, it took you years to get yourself in this position. It it now can we take a year and replace years of bad habits? We can. So, are you not willing to risk a year to replace years of bad habits? And so, and if you're not willing to do that, then just go back your old ways and move on. Like, don't even pay me and don't waste your money. Don't waste my time because it's not right for you. You don't have what it takes. So, however, you want that, right? Okay, yeah, I want to change my life. I want to continue with this. And it's just like keep the promise to yourself. You know, the only thing I can transition is, all right, are we getting burned out on workouts? We can modify the workouts. Let's change that up. Are you getting burned out on the type of food? Let's change up the type of food. So I mean, I can manipulate some of the process that if they're getting burned out. But if it's a mental burnout, they really got to check themselves to say, is this really for me? Am I really wanting to change my life? Am I serious enough? Do I want it bad enough? That's what it boils down to.
And it always does,
Yeah.
right? Because if you
Real
can't,
wise.
as a coach, you can't want it more than your client.
Yeah,
It never
absolutely.
works out. It never does, and
No.
that goes with like anything else in life as a coach, right? Um, with um, with new clients, how do you usually have them eating like just maintenance calories first, and then cut calories, or how does that usually work? If they don't want to
Yeah.
lose weight.
Yeah, so if they're wanting to lose weight, it's the same process with everyone. Now, I don't do a lot of bodybuilders competitors. I do a few. My preference is lifestyle people. So that's really where my market is, my niche is. But I start everyone the same way, and it's tough at first because it's a lot of food. They're not used to eating so much food, and the conversation is, look, it looks like a lot of food. It is a lot of volume, but it's 2,200 calories. Like, no different from you eating two cheeseburgers at McDonald's. It's
Yep.
just eating clean food throughout the day.
Yeah.
And so it's just getting them comfortable. And it'll take 2 weeks to get your metabolism to work for itself. So the first 2 weeks are the hardest. And we have a very open conversation about that. After the 2 weeks, your metabolism kicks in, it starts working. And then we start moving the food in week 3. And so by doing that, metabolism's working. Now we're moving the food. Now all of a sudden, everybody says the same thing. Wow, I'm actually hungry in between my meals. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Sorry, that question is more of a selfish question because I'm always interested to see everyone's take on
Yeah.
like weight loss and all that stuff, right? Because someone that always struggled with like losing weight from eating like 1,800 calories a day, I'm like, why am I not losing weight as fast as I was? Was I really eating 1,800 calories? Probably not. Right? So that was a
Yeah. Most people don't eat enough food in general. They don't eat enough protein.
Yep.
They don't drink enough water. And so if you don't drink enough water, you're going to hold water. Your body is made up of majority of water. So, naturally, let's say you're 180 pounds. You're supposed to drink half of your weight in water in ounces. So you're talking about 90 ounces of water. If you're 180 pounds, 90 ounces of water. If you're drinking 60 to 70 ounces, your body's going to retain some water. So
Oh,
you're not drinking enough because my body's going to say, I need that to survive.
hold it.
So you're going to be like, well, I'm eating this, but the scale don't move. Well, it's water anyway.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, if you eat really good and you you lose some weight for a beach trip or something like that, and then you go on your beach trip or vacation, and then you kind of eat like shit or you drink alcohol, but you don't drink water, right, consistently, and then you come home and you're like, oh my god, I gained all this fat. No, you didn't gain fat. All you did was you're holding water because you didn't drink any water last week.
You didn't know about that. I thought the less you drink water, the less water to hold, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the reverse.
Total opposite.
Yeah. Not a lot of people know these things too, which is like the scary part.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
We're here. See, I didn't even know.
And something I wanted to add earlier because we were kind of talking about how to build plans. So one thing I do, and I look, I love that a lot of coaches do macros and calories and all that stuff. I really do, because for me it makes me different. Dude, I give the meal plan 100%. My clients don't count their macros. They do not count their calories. I tell them exactly what to eat and every meal, and I tell them what time to eat it. So I make the process super easy, because I came from the busy world of being an entrepreneur, an executive in a company, and I'm busy. I didn't have time to figure all that out, nor was I going to. I tried those apps, and I'm like, and a lot of people don't even know how to count macros anyway.
Yeah.
I have a question regarding like how you plan your clients. How do you goal? Like how you write your goals. Do they usually, are they all the same where they need to lose X amount of weight for it to be done, or do they need to look a certain amount of way, or like how do you set a goal on a client?
I would say, well, the goal is set by the client.
Okay.
So when I onboard someone, I ask them, what are your short-term goals? What are your long-term goals? So we always attack the short-term goal first. Let's get out of that. Let's make it happen. And then we can focus on the long-term goal. Most clients, they want to lose 20 to 30 pounds. Some you have some super overweight people that need to lose 70, 80, 90 pounds. But typically, is 20 to 30 pounds. Then you're going to have some clients, they're trying to get bigger. But for the most part, the most people that come to me want to lose 20 to 30 pounds.
A follow-up question on that one, because let's say I'm one of your clients and we did obviously lose that 30 pounds. I think the hardest part is actually keeping that off. So after the program, do you have something for like what do you have? Do you have like another program for after I lose that 30 pounds kind of thing?
Yeah. So I'll run a 12 and 16 week programs. And once we accomplish that goal, what I say is, okay, you've paid for that program. And now instead of doing another packaged program, you're going to hire me for one more month. Now in that 1 month, you're going to check into me every weekend. Mm-hmm. And over that weekend, I'm going to build you a lifestyle program at the end of the month. So I'm going to build it. I'm going to tweak it, and I'm going to tweak it, and I'm going to tweak it. I'm going to find out what you really will eat consistently for the rest of your life. And at the end of that month, I build out a program. One, I do give you the macros just because, if you want it, you have it. But I give you options of what to eat for breakfast. I'll give you 3, 4, 5 options. Your next meal, because to lose weight quickly, you're going to eat 5, 6 times a day. Like and nobody's going to do that lifestyle. Let's be honest. So what I do is then in that month I condense it, and then I figure out how to feed them 4 times a day. Something that they really will eat and that's sustainable. Because now the ultimate goal is how to do that for life, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and when you're done working with these clients, and obviously losing weight is kind of hard. Well, it is hard, obviously, but after a program is done, what's like the biggest thing you notice for people to really gain weight, like gain bad weight again, like to fall off track?
To fall off track is they want to reward themselves way too early, and then they give up. You know what I mean? Like they lose that discipline, they lose that reason, or they go back to start drinking alcohol like every day. And it's like you can't do that. So they just lose that, whatever they had, that passion, that drive to get there. They just kind of lose it because they want to, reward themselves. Well, then that becomes whatever else, and then they stress and they anxiety and life and this and that, and let's just break it down to a whole, like, more of a mindset issue.
Right. This is kind of like when you first start at a job, you know, you're always putting your best foot forward. And throughout the months, throughout the weeks, it
Yeah.
just goes down and down and down, right? I guess I wanted to ask you just one last question just about your bodybuilding career. Was there any like moments in there when you had like thoughts where you're like, this might not be for me? Were you just discouraged at all? And how did you overcome that?
That's happened a lot early on. So I did my first show and I said, I'm going to do one show and be done. That's it. I just want to prove that I got on stage. I want to prove that I can do it. Um, but I got like what we call the bug. And I was like, well, it's kind of fun. You know, I'm older. I get to compete. But so I did the show. By the time I cut down weight, I was like 172. And I'm like, okay, well, I got second place, which means I qualified for nationals. And I went out and I looked at national shows. Well, I was like, oh, these guys are like 215, 220 pounds jacked. I'm 175. You know, like I don't belong. Yeah, like whether I'm qualified or not. So I said, okay, so if I'm going to go step on a national stage, then I don't want to not belong. Now, maybe I don't win, but I'm not going to get up there and get last place. And so I had to make a plan to figure out how to put enough size on that I was close. And then when I stepped on stage nationally for the first time, I was 205 pounds. Um, you know, this last national show I did in New Jersey, I don't want to say I was discouraged. I was ready for it. I had some issues with digestion. My coach had fed me a little too much, and my body just wasn't digesting the food fast enough. So what happened was I spilled over, and what spilled over means is my abs and my core it kind of distended. So my abs were there, but they weren't clean and crisp. So you know, by the time I got on stage, I just wasn't clean enough. I wasn't tight enough. Now, naturally, an hour and a half later, when I got off stage, I looked brilliant. I looked great because the food had digested. Um, Probably not discouraged, more disappointed. And so, you know, I wasn't planning on doing Pittsburgh, but I say I'm not finishing the season this way. I'm going to learn from this moment. I'm going to adapt. I'm going to make changes. I'm going to do one more show, and I'm going to prove that I'm better than eighth place because I should be a top five, if not win. I mean, I'm without a doubt. Depends who shows up to these events. I got a number one package, but I should be top five without a doubt. So, how to overcome that? You know, just make a plan, make a change, and you know, go for it. Because early on, it can be discouraging, dude. It's scary backstage with 25 guys in each class, and basically you're back there with 300 dudes, jacked, ripped, and tan and juiced up, and
So what's your walking weight? What's like your stage weight? Just curious.
it's interesting. So 2 years ago, my stage weight was like 202, 204 pounds. This year is 193. And so I'm leaner, but I'm bigger. So I've been able in the last 2 years to get fat off of me in different places that I was able to last time. So I carried fat differently because I'm way bigger than what I was last time, but I weigh less.
Unreal. And how does the categories work? Is it like is it height and age? Is that what it is?
Yeah. So for men's physique, it's height only. So classic is weight, bodybuilding's weight. But for men's physique, what the division I compete in is height based. But then they do also age. So they have what they call open class, which is anybody that wants to. But then they at 35 years old to 40, they'll do a 35 class, then the 40 class, a 45, a 50, a 55. So you can compete down, but you can't compete up.
Makes sense.
Absolutely.
So I'm 40, I compete in 40, I compete 35, and then I compete in the open as well.
Would this be your the last one
For this year?
This year.
this year?
Yeah, this year. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about future plans. With all the success that you've had, now you started an online business. What's next?
So a lot of cool things actually. 2 weeks ago, I did a soft launch, actually with my mom. So my mom, I'm from West Virginia, and man, we have good food. And my mom makes the best brownies that I've ever eaten in my life. And I'm telling you, yeah, everybody says it, right? And so I said, Mom, I need you to find a way to make these brownies with protein in them, but they taste close to this.
Yeah.
And so we did a soft launch. We sold over 200 brownies in 3 days. Yeah, each brownie has 25 grams of protein, 8 grams of carbs, 9 grams of fat, and less than 1 gram of sugar. And it tastes like dessert. No joke. It tastes like dessert. So it's not dry like most protein products are. So I'm super excited about that. So we just did a little soft launch. We're still building up capacity, things like that. So her and I launched that.
Is there a name for the business or the brownies?
Yeah, it's called Body by Brownies.
Body by, I like it.
Love it.
Yeah, yeah. So I've got that. I'm launching another product online called 75 Diet. So if you're familiar with going hard for 75 days, they he says just to follow a nutrition plan, but nobody gives you one. So I'm releasing a product that is a 75 day diet plan. Yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And when's that being released?
Start marketing in 2 weeks. So I've got the ads that are going to be filmed next week, and then I'll start running ads in 2 weeks. It's built and done.
It's all done.
I wish I had this when I started last year, because I had no idea what I was doing. I was just like, I just had a set amount of macros I was eating, and that was it. But if I had this, man,
everything is set up for you right there. You
yeah,
just gotta
exactly,
do it.
Right? Just gotta do the goddamn plan, right?
Yes,
that's it.
Right. So Justin, I appreciate you taking some time.
Last question. Last question that we ask everyone here. Of course, man. It's one of the most important questions. No, Justin, we appreciate your time here. Just one last question here. Who should be our next guest on this podcast? And of course, once you say that person, or it could be more than one, you got to help us out.
Okay. I believe it needs to be. I tell you what, it can be the guy that's helped me do my posing. He is a very smart guy. He's a professional bodybuilder. If you're cool with doing another bodybuilder,
absolutely,
100%.
All right. So his name's Gary Cooper. He's out of Rochester, New York. He's my posing coach, and I've become friends with this guy over the years. Just really smart individual, and he's that guy that is smarter than he realizes, and he is going to be perfect. He speaks very well, and he's going to be great for your show.
Awesome. Gary Cooper, watch out.
Yeah, we'll be reaching out, man. I'm excited. It's going to be good because, just the thing with bodybuilders and with high level athletes, their minds are different.
We want to dissect that.
Exactly. That's what we really need and just relate to everyone. But Justin, we really do appreciate you taking some time out of your day to sit down with us, especially on prep. If I was on prep, I would not be doing this. I would be punching people out left, right, and center, Exactly, right. I ain't Justin. But again, Justin,
I'm due to eat right now. So
there you go. Right.
So Justin, where can people find you?
Instagram is the best. Tid_Justin. TikTok, same thing. Facebook, yeah, same thing. Justin Tid on Facebook. But yeah, Instagram's the best, man. I respond to as many DMs as I can. But yeah, come find me there. DM me, follow me on that. I post workouts. I post nutritions. My Instagram's really built in a way that if you follow me and watch my highlights and watch what I post in my stories, you could probably end up coaching yourself is the way how I try to set it up. If you just follow some of the things I put out there.
Blueprint is right there. You just got to watch.
and put into action.
Yes, sir.
That's the important part.
That's it.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Justin, again, thank you so much.
Thank
And
you,
until
sir.
next time, guys, my name is MP.
My name is Stefan SB.
And we got Justin Tate up in this building. Until next time, guys, we're out.